Today, I'm going to show you 10 integrated amplifiers. Now, 5 are going to be real beauties, and then the other 5 are, sad to say, uggamugs.
Oh, it just got sad.
Should an audio component look at least as good as it sounds? Hey, let's discuss. Let's comment. Let's subscribe. Hi, I'm Bob, and you, my friends, are back in the United States of analog. How you doing out there? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. Hey, as always, let me know where you're viewing from. I really do want to know because I keep a little map and I look at it from time to time. I dream about faraway lands that I would like to visit now more than ever. And while you're down there typing that in, feel free to comment throughout the video and like and subscribe and punch that notification bell real hard. Yes, 20,000 subs is going to happen with this video. I know it. I can feel it. And then boom, to the moon, Alice. You know what I'm saying? I think that expression got canceled. All right, today could be the most subjective video I'll do all year in 2025. We're going to look at 5 beauties and 5 beasts. Don't get scared. It's going to be okay. I'm going to look at 10 integrated amplifiers that I think are currently on the market, most of them anyway. I'm going to make some value judgments based on appearance. Now, a lot of you, I know from your comments in past videos, don't feel the same way. To you, the sound of the component is the be-all and end all, and I get it, and you're welcome to that opinion, but I have a lot of insecurity if you haven't already figured out, and you know, I like to look at the component as I'm listening to kind of continuously validate my purchase, if nothing else. Plus, I feel like I know good design and I'm a fan of good design. And I think if you spend a lot of time designing a component to sound good, why not put a little extra time into the design of the look, the form, the appearance, the curb appeal, as it were. So that's what we're going to do. Now, again, this is my subjective opinion on these things, and if you're a manufacturer or a distributor of one of these items, please take no offense to what I'm doing here. I'm just creating content and giving my opinion. I'm sure all of these components are great sounding components. And guess what? This is the only video I'm going to do all year where we're not going to talk about the sound. We're just going to talk about the superficial looks. And isn't that the way life should be? No, the life shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but you should judge an audio component by the design of the case. And I stand by that. So do we listen with our ears and our eyes? Let's find out. Let's get started because I know you've got other videos to watch. Now, these amps I'm going to show you are between about $1,000 and $75,000, I think, something like that. At least one is going to be outside of my price range. And we're going to alternate. I'm going to start with a beauty, then I'm going to do a beast, then a beauty and a beast, a beauty and a beast.
Then a beauty and a beast, a beauty and a beast.
Our first beauty is the Technics SU-R1000 amplifier. $10,000 when you can get it, and it boasts 150 watts per channel into 8 ohms. Full disclosure, I own an SU-G700 from Technics, and I love it. It's a very similar looking amp. For this video, I decided to step it up. Dream big, manifest this thing. I can just stare at those meters, and VU meters are going to be a running theme here. I just think the lines are sharp, they're crisp. The unit is solid. It looks like it's been carved out of a giant piece of solid steel. And I can say that because I have first-hand experience. Yeah, to me, it's the epitome of audiophile handsomeness, like it's wearing a bow tie or something. Yeah, it's kind of the James Bond of amplifiers. All right, beast number 1 is the Parasound Halo at about $3,200. It pumps out 160 watts per channel into 8 ohms. Now, for some of these, I've got to call up the images on my phone here so I can comment. I don't know, there's something about it that's just not speaking to me. Maybe it's the undersized knobs and all that like negative space under the Parasound logo. And then all those like lights along that trench there, that trench on the bottom, that cavity reminds me of what like Luke Skywalker, you know, flew through at the end of A New Hope to blow up the Death Star. That just looks like it's going to collect dust, and I'm really sounding like my mom right now. Yeah, I know Parasound makes a really good product, but I'm not buying into this look in either silver or black. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments. Beauty number 2 is the Naim Uniti Nova, $7,000, 80 watts per channel into 8 ohms. And yeah, I was a big fan of the Naim Uniti Atom when it was released, and I had the privilege of listening to it in my home for a couple of months. I loved it. I love the sound. I know we're not talking about sound, but man, it has a beautiful sound. And the Nova has a beautiful look, that wide stance, that beautiful screen, and that knob, that underlit trim lighting, whatever you want to call it, is so beautiful and so fun to use. It's like you almost don't want to use the remote control on this thing. But yeah, in this day and age, you know, with a lot of wide digital components, a lot of manufacturers opt for, you know, like screen end to end. No, not here. This is more elegant, more beautiful, more stately. I love this unit, and if I had $8,000 to blow today, I would buy it. Beast number 2 is the Rotel A12 Mark II, $1,250, 60 watts per channel into 8 ohms. All right, first impressions. Once again, we have a component where the knobs and the buttons are too small. I have big sausage fingers. Actually, I don't, but I don't know what's up with all this minimalist crap. You know, the tiny pushers, like it's a watch or something. It's not a watch, it's an amplifier. But what bugs me the most, and maybe it's intentional, maybe Rotel is trying to get under my skin, but that display, the text is so chunky. It reminds me of a Game Boy. I don't get it. It's 2025. Can't we get a slightly better resolution on the display? Sorry, this is a miss from Rotel, which traditionally has been pretty minimalist and stark, but they've really outdone themselves here. Oh man, now we're getting to one of my aspirational brands, Accuphase. The Accuphase A-4000. I think this is kind of in the middle of the line, $13,500 and 180 watts per channel into 8 ohms. Man, this thing is a beauty from Japan, and I saw one of these at a dealer and I just wanted to hug it and bring it home. What can I say? All those vintage vibes, the meters, the Japanese feel and build of this unit. I mean, it's just solid, yet it's kind of a throwback to the 60s. It represents kind of the dawn of hi-fi. And the colorways, that blue logo, the red in the VU meter, and that kind of golden tone in the finish. The opposing knobs.
A little weird, but I like it.
It's super cool. I want to own it now. Beast number 3 will set you back about $65,000. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Agostino Momentum MvX, 250 watts per channel into 8 ohms. Man, that seems a little light for something that costs $65,000. I'm sure it sounds good, at least $50,000 good. But man, what's going on here? There's a lot to unpack. Is this thing playing music, or is it going to serve me a cappuccino? I mean, it looks like one of those Italian coffee makers that you would get on sale, like at Ross during Christmas time, you know, in the clearance area. Like, what's going on? What's with the SpongeBob portal? Now, I know this is going to appeal to a lot of people, but I don't know. This looks like designed by committee to me. Again, I'm sure it sounds phenomenal, but I don't think I could have this in my home, mainly because I don't have $65,000. But the second reason is I don't know how I could explain this to anyone. I don't know. It's round, it's square, it's in between. There's so much going on. It's got this little stand thing. I'm sure it's functional. To each his own. Beauty number 4 is the Burmester 032. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, or Burmester. I guess it depends on whether you live in England or not. 170 watts per channel into 4 ohms. This one's going to set you back $20,000. That's all. I know what you're saying right now. How did you not like the Agostino and you like the Burmester 032? You know what? I can't really explain it. It just stood out to me, especially in black. It looks like this could be Darth Vader's amp. And I guess I like straight lines more than I like curved lines when it comes to amplifiers. But this, again, looks solid. I like the engraving on the top. Sure, there's a lot going on with those fins in front. I'm sure that's part of the heat sink. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just part of the design. But again, slightly vintage feel, a little different, but not wavy, curvy.
Chaos.
I don't know. I may have to rethink that one. I don't know how that ended up on my list. I may have to rethink it. It's certainly not on the Beast list, but maybe I should have left it off this list. What are your thoughts on the Burmester or Burmester? Put it in the comments below. Beast number 4 is the Peachtree Audio Carina 150. $1,500, pretty reasonable. A great brand, I know. This is 150 watts into 8 ohms. And again, we've got that roundish look that I don't think belongs. It looks more like a space heater or maybe a high-end toaster that's been kind of flattened. Minimalist, but maybe too minimalist for me, but I just don't like that round look. I don't know if I'm nailing it here. I'm not sure what it's saying to me. Again, it feels like some kind of bizarre appliance from a 50s kitchen. I just don't know if I would have this one out in the open. That's just me. If you own one of these, I hope you like it. Does it look too much like a radio? And I'm in radio, so it's giving me, I don't know. And beauty number 5 is the Deviatet Expert 220 Pro. I'm sure it's Deviatet.
I can be so crude sometimes.
I had to look down. It's such a long name. I think I nailed it. Deviatet. Maybe not something that would grab my eye initially if I saw it in a store, but the more I look at it, the more distinctive and distinguished it looks to me. And I know I've been kind of throwing shade at curvy things, but this one's more on that sculpted kind of path. Like this looks like if the alien from Alien had a stereo system, this would be his integrated amplifier. Or was Alien a she? I don't really remember, but I love the simplicity of this. I love the symmetry of this. I love the low profile, though. You know, part of me thinks like, well, maybe it doesn't have as much power as it should because it's so small. Again, it looks like a piece of sculpture as opposed to some wavy, curvy component that was designed by committee. That one ended pretty good. And to round things out, beast number 5 is the HiFi Rose RA180 at $7,000, squirting out 200 watts per channel into 8 ohms. Oh man, now listen, I know HiFi Rose has really been grabbing a lot of headlines in recent years, but man, there's a lot to unpack here. We've got round meters, which I've never really been a fan of because round meters come in a lot of FunFi products. All these dials and gears, and is it a watch? Is it an amplifier? What's happening here? It's like a $7,000 fidget spinner. Again, it probably sounds fantastic. I don't have any experience with it. And then there's the feet, support the chassis or something, but all kinds of different knobs and buttons and gears. And I'm sure if I had it in my home and was playing around with it, I might have a different opinion, but right now it seems busy. It seems confused. Even though it's a very high-end component, it has kind of an expensive FunFi vibe. Yeah, I know you guys are going to beat me up in the comments on this one, but too much like a clock, too much like a watch, and not enough like an audio component. Actually, I have one more. It's an honorable mention in the beauty department. The Leak Stereo 230. There's something about this amplifier. $1,700, 75 watts per channel. This amplifier takes me back to the 60s. Even though I didn't have an amplifier in the 60s, I imagine this is the kind of component that Don Draper would have in Mad Men. It's simple, it's clean, it speaks to the golden age of hi-fi, like an old Scott amplifier or kit amplifier. Just very bare bones, very basic. I've heard these at audio shows and they sound really good. All the Leak stuff sounds really good. And I just wanted to give it an honorable mention. It's been out for a few years. I really like the looks of this, but I just don't have a place in my home for it right now. And speaking of my home, thanks for joining me here. And if you've got a few extra minutes to spare, and I didn't scare you off with this video, I've got another one I want you to see, and it's gonna pop up right here. You know the geniuses at YouTube have already decided what you want to watch next, and it's gonna pop up right now. Watch that and subscribe to my channel so we can go over that 20,000 sub threshold today. We'll see you next time in the United States of Analog.